Can a Christian marry a non-believer? Because it seems like 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 14 and 16 permits it. Okay, so let's read this scripture by ourselves. 1 Corinthians 7 from verse 14. For the believing wife brings holiness to her marriage, and the believing husband brings holiness to his marriage. Otherwise, your children would not be holy, but now they are holy. Verse 16. Don't you wives realize that your husbands might be saved because of you? And don't you husbands realize that your wives might be saved because of you? Notice it didn't say that the girlfriend or boyfriend or the person you are courting might be saved because of you. It said your husband and your wife might be saved because of you. And I'll tell you why this is important. Because when we track back just a few verses before, we see what Apostle Paul was saying in greater context. So 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 12 and 13 says, if a fellow believer has a wife who is not a believer and she is willing to continue living with him, he must not leave her. And if a believing woman has a husband who is not a believer and he is willing to continue living with her, she must not leave him. From this, we see clearly that Apostle Paul was not speaking to single believers. He was speaking to believers who were once non-believers, married as non-believers, and found the faith in their marriage. That is, they got saved in their marriage, but had not successfully influenced their spouse into the same conversion. So he said, don't just put away your spouse or seek a divorce because you have gotten saved while the other person is still in the world. Who knows, you might be a factor that influences their conversion onto the faith. So if that spouse is willing to continue living with you, then you should continue living with them. That is what that scripture was saying. Apostle Paul was not in any way encouraging single believers to explore a romantic relationship with non-believers. In fact, Apostle Paul said, what does light have to do with darkness? What relationship does lawlessness have to do with righteousness? That is how serious it is. So I guess my response to whoever asks this question is, if you are currently in a relationship with a non-believer, someone who does not share your values and faith, dust your slippers and leave that relationship. Because to whom brain is given, sense is expected. I hope I answered your question. If you want me to answer your question next, then do follow, because I drop questionnaire links on my story and I could just be answering you next. See you next time in school.